All right, what's this video about? This video is about the M1 MacBook Air. Now, I know we've seen a lot of M1 MacBook videos, but this is a little different, and I'm going to explain why. One of the things that really bothered me when the M1 came out was I could find a lot of videos of people just using plain audio files in a Logic session or in a Pro Tools session. But what I could not find was a video where people were using heavy-duty, very processor-intensive, RAM-intensive VSTs like Omnispheres and Contact. And so, for the purpose of this video, I have 18 tracks, and I'm using a variety of different instruments. And so we're going to open up the mixer for a minute, and we're just going to take a quick look at those. So we have an instance of Omnispheres, and the Omnispheres patch we're using, let's give that a second to kind of come up here, is we're using, how many channels of Omnispheres are we using? We're using, I think, play the track from the beginning. Omnispheres in multi-output mode. So we've got the multi-output icon selected. We have Arturia plugins, 2 of them. We have 1 instance of Contact, and I only have 1 Contact instrument pulled up. We also have one of the Spitfire special little synths they make, the Hainbach synth, which is very inexpensive and cheap. We're also using Ozone, which is quite processor intensive actually, and we're using Slate Audio on the master bus. So this comprises what I would call a sketch workflow for me doing a film score. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to Europe for a few weeks this summer, and I just want to see if I can actually work remotely while I'm on holiday. Because I have to actually work while I'm on holiday. So it's still a holiday. Yes, let's see. Greek Island, music production. Yeah, I think it's still a holiday. I think it qualifies. So anyway, as you can see, I have to know if my system I can do basic sketch working. So this is, again, a fairly intensive processor intensive plugin, Omnispheres. And we have the Arturia as well as the Spitfire audio. So let's see how it does. So we've got the CPU meter up there, and let's go from the very beginning. So far, so good. So far, so good. The Ozone, we can take a look at the CPU meter in the upper right-hand corner there, and it's doing fairly well. It's doing great, and that's at 44.1 sample rate. So all the instruments at this point are playing, with the exception of the Contact and the Hainbach. So let's see what happens when those come in. So far, so good. So good. Here comes Contact. Comes the Hainbach. The Omnispheres, not all of the channels are playing, so there's processing power. So that's at 44.1. Now, if we increase the sample rate, I'm going to make an assumption that the CPU meter is going to go peak a little bit more. So that's part one. So in part two, we're going to go to 96 in the sample rate and see if that really affects performance and to see if it still works. So this is part one, and then part two is coming of the M1 MacBook Air. Can you really do music production on it using VSTs?